Hi, this is Allison Scheck. I'm the Marketing and Community Relations Manager at the City of Lakewood, and I'm here with Nestor Fadok, who is a landscape architect that's been working on this proposed site plan for Lasley Park. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the history of the park, recap the public process that we've held so far to get to this point, tell you what we've heard, and then talk about the proposed site plan for a reimagined Lasley. What we're looking for is still a lot of feedback. We want to know exactly what you think about our proposed plan so that we can move forward. Thanks for being with us today.
Hi, this is Nestor. I'd like to talk a little bit about the background for Lasley Park. This 10-acre property was assembled through various acquisitions over many years. Originally in 1960, the eastern portion of the site was acquired by what is now the Foothills Park and Recreation District. In 1967, improvements were constructed that included a shelter on the east side, irrigation system, tennis courts, and a volleyball court. The western portion of the site was acquired in 1970, and new irrigation system was added to that area, as well as some playground equipment. In 1984, the equipment was consolidated into the existing play area, which is still in place. In 1985, the basketball courts were built, and in 1994, concrete pathways were added to the site, while a picnic shelter was constructed on the west end of the park. In 2000, the City of Lakewood acquired the site from Foothills Park and Recreation District. The city replaced some of the playground equipment in 2006. The eastern picnic shelter was replaced in 2008, and the portalet enclosure was installed in 2011 near the tennis courts. Over the last few years, neighborhood residents have made various requests for upgrades to the park, which has resulted in a site plan that we will be proposing here.
So we partnered with graduate-level landscape architecture students from the University of Colorado, Denver, through a really innovative project called the Hometown Colorado Initiative. We partnered with these students to help us develop the best plan for Lasley Park. So back in January, we posted a survey online asking for your thoughts on future park improvements. 42 people took that survey. In partnership with the students, we held the first public meeting back on February 4th of 2016, and 23 residents attended that meeting. They gave the students feedback on the existing conditions and talked about their dreams and desires for their reimagined park. On March 3rd, 19 residents returned to a public meeting to listen to the 6 student teams present their concepts. There were 6 different concepts for the park based on the feedback that was gathered. And at that meeting, residents told the students, talked about their preferences of all the elements between the 6 plans. And that information is located on our website at lakewood.org/projects. So here's what we learned through those public meetings. We learned that for the play area, options for younger and older children are important. Some residents suggested moving the volleyball court to the south to make way for a bigger playground, and we think that's a good idea. We learned that the western views of the mountains and Mount Evans are really important, and that it's a big feature of this park. So featuring some sort of a high point to maximize those western views is important. We heard that some adults love the idea of exercise equipment near the playground so they can work out and watch their kids play. We learned that an additional restroom or portalet on the west side of the park would be appreciated. And we also learned that some residents favor the idea of additional parking, while others definitely do not. Regarding trees, trails, and open space, we heard that overwhelmingly a network of trails would be appreciated so as to create more experiences and opportunities for different experiences within the park. Specifically, we learned that a soft trail would be nice for running. Some residents had the idea to widen the trail along the south side of the park on Florida. We heard that preserving existing trees and adding more trees is really important, and that likewise more plantings and a color variety would be appreciated. We heard that preserving that nice open lawn space for play is really important.
Here is the plan currently proposed for Lasley Park. As you will see on the eastern side of the plan, we have moved the volleyball court down toward the south and replaced and installed that area with a larger playground, servicing both the age group of 5 to 12 and the younger kids from 2 to 5. A little bit over to the west from there, we have a net climber situated in the park to provide those great views of the west. Also, you'll see to the south of the playground a fitness court with, at this point, 4 fitness stations for the adults in close proximity to the playground. As you look toward the tennis court area, you will see where the existing playground has been replaced by a games court area that includes several horseshoe courts, a cornhole game, as well as a ping pong table that we'll talk about a little later. As you look toward the west side of the park, you will see that the field area has been leveled out and flattened a little to provide a better surface, more accommodating for the sports that kids and adults come out to practice on. In the center of the park, you'll see the parking lot situated along Florida Avenue across from Marshall Street, providing the access for handicapped and disabled and elderly individuals. And a key element, as was mentioned in our earlier meetings, is to provide a loop system or a network of trails through the park. The very narrow trail along Florida Avenue has been replaced with a 8-foot path to correspond with the existing path that was left intact. We also have introduced the informal path area built out of crusher fines in a native grass area to the north and northeast in the park. These areas will provide for some activity away from the active areas of the park, as well as promote some of the sustainable practices that the city's trying to implement in terms of conservation of water. Here we have a picture of showing the proposed playground that we're envisioning for the park. This is a combination of the traditional post and platform playgrounds with some of the more modern activity components which exercise the kids' limbs and bodies to stretch out and learn about how they work in the real world. What you don't see in the backside, or there are still some slides involved here for the activity that has always been popular, and the playground also includes some swings as well as a few other amenities alongside of them. In addition to the playground, we're also including the exercise area for adults in close proximity to the playground. We're looking at the tall pyramid net climbing structure and some outdoor games, including horseshoe pits, cornhole, and ping pong, which we'll talk about a little later. Here we have a look at what we're proposing for the small children's play area. Again, following the theme of some more modern equipment, we have on the left, you can see a couple of tom-toms for sound activities, interesting climbing activities, as well as a slide on the right side. Bottom left, we're looking at an example of the pyramid net climber. And as we mentioned previously, the ping pong table. These are becoming popular around the country. They're built out of concrete, have a little artistic flair to them, and they're made to be durable out in our climate and in the public arena. And to go over some of the other amenities that we've included, including the portalet on the west side of the park, we are intending to replace all the existing wood post-mounted street lights with solar-powered lighting throughout the park for increased security. We're looking at additional seating throughout the park. We mentioned leveling the lawn space and creating berms on the east side of the park, and additional trees and planting beds throughout the park. In addition to these amenities, we are considering the addition of the small 11-space parking lot to provide for improved access for the disabled and elderly residents who would like to visit the park, and we've created a centrally located focal point for artwork to be determined in the future. Here we have an enlargement of the west side of the park, the closer look at the planting beds and seating areas just to the north of the field along the adjacent bicycle path. We have seating along the crusher fines path in the native grass area, and you can see the planting beds situated throughout the parking lot area for screening, as well as at the entryways to add color and interest to the park. This brings us to the final cost estimate at this time for the proposed plan, which is estimated at $1.3 million. We'll be taking into account the comments and suggestions that will be made following this presentation and finalizing plans through the wintertime, anticipating construction in the spring and summer of 2017.
Thank you, Nesta. So lots to do. Next steps. The first thing we'd like to do is invite you to take a tour of the park with staff from 5 to 7:30 on Thursday, June 23rd. Come on out. We'll have different stations set up to further explain some of the proposed improvements. We'll be serving pizza and fruit, and recreation staff will be on site to coordinate games. So it'll be really fun, and we hope to see you there. We'd also like you to close out of this presentation and find the online feedback form, which is at lakewood.org/projects, where you found this presentation. You can close out of it and then just look for the online feedback form and go ahead and give us all of your thoughts, anything you have to share based on what you've heard today. If you'd rather just pick up the phone or send us an email, you're welcome to do that too. You can call 303-987-7800 or email crinfo@lakewood.org, crinfo@lakewood.org. So lots of ways to give us feedback. And again, I really do hope that we see you at Lasley on June 23rd. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation. We hope that this has helped you get a good sense of what we're proposing for your park, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you.